Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We have a lot to talk about regarding USC, and this is a conversation that I am uniquely very excited to get into because there's a lot of different opinions regarding where USC is right now, where this program is going, and is Lincoln Riley the right guy to get USC where they want to go? And I think there are a lot of different opinions that certainly have some merit behind them. I want to share my opinion, and I want to be very clear right off the bat that there will be plenty of USC fans that maybe don't agree with my evaluation. That's the beauty of it. And I'm not going to get up here and say my opinion is the truth. My opinion is fact because I don't think it is. This is just how I see this program and where it's going. And I want to start with this. I believe that what we saw against Notre Dame Saturday night, what we saw a couple of weeks ago on the road against Illinois, is a direct result of really bad roster building by Lincoln Riley. Poor roster building that we did not talk enough about when USC was winning games early under Lincoln Riley because they had the best quarterback in the country that are now really starting to show up over the last couple of years. I think it starts along the lines of scrimmage. Hey, go back and look at the talent that USC has brought in through the high school ranks, specifically along the lines of scrimmage. Man, it's just not good enough, right? And so when you go on the road and you play some of the bigger and more physical play, and I know Notre Dame's not a Big Ten team, but they're essentially, kind of a Big Ten built team, you might say. I mean, Chad Bowden, USC's current general manager, built this Notre Dame roster over the last couple of years. It's the biggest difference. What we saw against Illinois, what we saw Saturday night against Notre Dame, we don't have enough quality bodies to hold up along the lines of scrimmage against some of the better line of scrimmage teams that we see across the country. And hey, I'm going to say this right off the bat. If you want to win Big Ten championships, hell, if you want to win national championships, you got to have those bodies. USC doesn't. I'm not necessarily expunging Coach Lynn or Coach Henney or Coach Newell or Coach Rob Ryan. I don't think it was good enough against Notre Dame. And I was really frustrated with a couple of things that we saw schematically. I think the linebackers were fitting the run really, really poorly. I thought we should have been bringing in, once Notre Dame was just running the football all over, running the football how they wanted. I thought you should have made some adjustments in terms of bringing a safety into the box. I don't think the talent's where it needs to be. And that's not something you can fix by just snapping your fingers, right? What made Nick Saban such an elite coach at Alabama? What makes Kirby Smart such a great coach at Georgia? What makes Ryan Day such a great coach at Ohio State? I'm not trying to take away from the kind of football coaches those guys are, but they also have the best players on the football field, specifically along the lines of scrimmage. USC does not have that. So as frustrated as I want to get with Coach Lynn and Coach Rob Ryan and Coach Henney and Coach Newell, I don't think we have the Jimmies and Joes to bang with the best line of scrimmage teams that we see in the country. Here's another, and here's the good side of things is I think Chad Bowden got to USC and probably thought the same thing. Like, well, look what he's doing in 2026. Look at the blue chip talent that USC has coming in specifically along the lines of scrimmage. USC has 5 defensive linemen coming in the 2026 class that are blue chip caliber guys, that are blue chip ranked guys. That is more than the last 3 years under Lincoln Riley and what he's done on the high school recruiting trail. Chad Bowden has identified the problem. Now, the frustrating part is you can start racking up all those commitments. It doesn't immediately fix the problem. You want to fix the problem the right way. It's going to take time. Got to recruit these guys, got to get them committed, then you got to get them on campus, and then you got to get them developed. It's not a 6-month fix. Everybody getting mad at Chad. I saw somebody on Twitter say, oh, yeah, Chad Bowden had a real big impact for USC last night or 2 nights ago against Notre Dame. This is like the wrong way of looking at it. What was Chad Bowden going to do in 6 months to build this roster and get it to a national championship caliber? You can't. That's the flat out answer is you can't. Chad Bowden is doing it. It's going to take time. If you are a USC fan that wants to move on from Lincoln Riley, you should have moved on from him last year. But now we're doing things the right way. I think you owe Lincoln Riley and Chad Bowden the time to get those bodies into the program, get them developed, and see what happens. That's my personal take. Hey, number two, and this is a problem. These transfer portal evaluations need to be fixed, man. And here's the thing is, and I feel like I maybe am trying to, I'm a backtrack and say flat out, we tried to address some problems in the transfer portal and we just missed on a lot of our evaluations. And I will say, like, when a lot of these guys were brought in the winter, Chad Bowden wasn't at USC yet. He got hired by USC January 24th, I think. Most of these guys were already grabbed by by USC before Chad Bowden got there. But I'm looking at these names highlighted in red. Keyshawn Silver has been just not good enough. You paid him a lot of money, and he is a rotational defensive lineman at best in the Big Ten. Josh Jair don't even play anymore. Tamir Robinson is he was brought in the spring. I look at DJ Harvey at the boundary cornerback position. DJ Harvey don't play either. And so I'm looking at it and saying a lot of the names that we poured a lot of money, the only transfer portal additions that I think are really paying off, because you go to the offensive side of the football, it's a very similar conversation. Like John Ray Reed was brought in to be your starting center. He lost the starting center battle in fall camp. Prince Strachan from Boise State barely plays. Like the only transfer portal additions that I feel like USC hit with, Bishop Fitzgerald at safety, Wayman Jordan at running back, Eli Sanders at running back. And outside of that, they have a whole lot of whiffs at some really important positions. When we get to the winter and USC is trying to address some of these concerns in the transfer portal, we need to hit on the guys that we are spending a lot of money on. Because if you don't, and it kind of goes back to why it's so important to recruit the high school ranks, because look at the misses. Keyshawn Silver, Josh Jair, you can't find those guys in the transfer portal. You got to get them at the high school ranks. What is next? How does USC continue to go where they want to go? I do think that Nebraska game after the bye week's big, because I do need to see one thing. And I know I kind of got up here and defended Lincoln Riley a little bit. And it's not even me defending Lincoln Riley, because he was bad in the first couple of years building this roster, just flat out bad, fireable bad. But you decided not to fire him. And now you brought in Chad Bowden. You have the number one class in the country coming in. I don't think you can fire Lincoln Riley now. But what is next? That road game after the bye week against Nebraska feels big. Why does it feel big? Because there's been a problem with Lincoln Riley, and that is going on the road in this conference, specifically when you're going across the country. It's been flat out bad. Like, this team just doesn't look right, because we saw USC hold up against Michigan at home. And I think Michigan's a pretty good line of scrimmage team. Why did it look so much different on the road against Illinois and Notre Dame? I need Lincoln Riley to show me he can go on the road in this conference and play their best football, because you need to win on the road. If USC wants to go to college football playoffs and go win national championships, you need to be a good road team. We haven't seen that. So we need to see Lincoln Riley get that done on the road against Nebraska. Number two, in the offseason, you got a lot of talented freshmen coming in. And I think there's a lot of these freshmen that are going to have the ability to help this football team in 2026, but you need to address your issues on your roster better in the transfer portal. And I'm not saying USC needs to bring in 25 new guys. I don't even think you have room for 25 new guys with the class you have coming in at the high school ranks. But the guys we go out and bring in, we can't miss the way we missed in the offseason with guys like Josh Jarrett and Keyshawn Silver. Good, and I don't mean to be cliche with you guys. Good things take time. And Lincoln Riley made some really ran this program poorly for the first 3 years. That started to show up. I think he's made the changes he needs to make, but now we do, I think, have to be patient and let this play out and let Chad Bowden really mold this roster into a roster that can compete at the highest level of the sport. We saw Chad Bowden do it at Notre Dame. He came to USC because he feels like he has even more firepower to build a roster at USC than he did at Notre Dame. but you got to give Chad Bowden the time to get this roster right. Is probably the best way I would sum up this episode. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. A frustrating time to be a USC fan. Ain't no doubt about that. But I do think that this year, more than last year, there are things you can point to in terms of what USC is doing and say, hey, we got things that we think are going in the right direction. And that's a lot more than a lot of other fan bases can say. I'll say that. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Let it fly in the comment section. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.